が消えかかるそれがオレンジャー熱い血流れる鋼の
Welcome to the Super Sentai Brothers. This is episode 31 of For Your Eyes Ohranger, the internet's best and only podcast dedicated to Chouriki Sentai Ohranger. Every week we watch an episode of the show and we share our thoughts with you, the listener. My name is Matt J, and with me as always is my co-host and brother Dave. Dave, how you doing today, bud?
I am dying. I'm dying of heat.
I mean, we all are,
humidity.
slowly, right?
Yeah.
Fun way to kick off the show.
That's a great way to kick off our ostensibly comedy podcast. No, it's just miserably hot. It's like 1,000,000% humidity. I know that's not possible, but
oh yeah, is it not raining where you are?
It is not. It has rained just enough to get that last, that last like touch of moisture into the air.
Just wring that last little bit out of the clouds.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Well, that is not exciting, Dave. What is exciting is that today we are watching episode 31 of Chouriki Sentai Ohranger, the home delivery diet. And Dave, did you know that this is not episode 200 of our show? This is actually episode 201. Last week was episode 200, and we just forgot.
Was it really?
Well, okay. It's
Whoops.
Last week was the 200th episode, counting all episodes in the feed. So that's all the Super Sentai buddies. It's all the Creature Royales. It's all of the You Only Live Man Twice, which is part of the Super Sentai buddies family of products. So like it's not all like a standard episode of You and Me. We haven't done that 200 times yet, but we have put 200 episodes in our feed, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's man.
And it only took us like 203 weeks to do it. I don't think we've missed more than a few in that time.
We have not had a ton. No, I think we've missed like one or two. I know we haven't talked about, like, we did we hit this milestone of episodes, I think, since we hit 100.
Yeah. Well, I feel like
200 is pretty rad.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I feel like the real milestones are when we finish a season. But man, it's a new digit up in that hundreds column. So yeah, I'm into it.
Nice.
But as I said, today is 31 of Ohranger, the home delivery diet. And Dave, we're going to talk about that in a minute. But before we do, of course, shining in the heavens, there are 5 stars. Would you like to know what our first star of the week is?
Yeah, sure, Matt.
Dave, you may or may not know this. There was an event over the weekend.
Is it goal? Was that it?
I mean, yeah.
Was that the star?
You have stolen my goal and my thunder, Dave.
You can do it. They do it a bunch. It's a thing.
Well, they don't do it that often. They're pretty low-scoring games. But yeah, it was the World Cup this weekend. Pretty good weekend for France because it was Bastille Day on Saturday.
It was more than just the one weekend.
Well, yes, but this past weekend, if you would have let me finish my sentence, was Bastille Day on Saturday and France winning the World Cup on Sunday.
Oh yeah, so that's huge for France.
Yeah. I think the first time they'd won it since 98, so like 20 years, right?
Is that when Zidane?
No, it's Zidane.
Double Z.
And that was in
Top.
2006, and they lost that final to Italy.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
All I remember is that he viciously headbutted someone.
Well, it's soccer. The guy flopped. Anyway, so yeah, it was very cool. I saw the second half of the game because living in the Eastern time zone in the United States, GMT -4 or 5, depending on the time of year, that means the game started at 11 a.m. on a Sunday.
Yeah.
So I set myself an alarm to wake up and go to the bar,
Okay.
which is not something that you normally would do. But, I figured, hey. So I get up and I drive out there. So there is this bar near me called the Old Angle, and the Old Angle, like, it came in, like, the top 5 of some national ranking of best bars to watch soccer in America, right?
Wow. No kidding.
Oh, yeah.
Is the Old Angle, just real quickly, is the Old Angle in Hingetown? Because I feel like...
No. No, actually, the Old Angle is on the corner of Bridge and West 25th.
Dang.
Right down the street from the West Side Market. And if you were ever in Cleveland and want to watch a soccer game, the reason it's such a great place to watch soccer is A, it's a good bar, and B, like all of its TVs are usually turned to soccer or something soccer adjacent.
Okay.
So, like, if you want to watch a game and it's televised, you can probably catch it there. So I thought, well, you know, it's the World Cup. I'm right down the road from this, like, really great soccer bar. I'm going to drive over there, and I'm going to watch the game. And it'll be great, because I'll be with other people who are also watching the game. So I drive down the street towards the bar, and I see some people standing outside. And I think, oh, okay, that's fine. So people are standing outside the bar. Maybe they're having a cigarette, whatever. I get closer, and I realize that they are not outside the bar because they want to have a cigarette. They're outside the bar because there is no room for them to stand inside the bar.
Whoa!
The bar is full, and, like, they've got sort of like they can open up the front windows to be sort of, like, open to the air. Those are open. People are just sort of, like, hanging in and out of the front windows and trying to, like, watch the TVs that are in the bar from outside on the sidewalk.
Man!
Yeah.
I am even noting that, like, this place is apparently the best place to watch soccer in Cleveland. I am a little bit
surprised that there's that many people who wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. And I was thinking, man, I wonder if these people were out here for all the other games. And then I realized, Matt, neither were you, and you're late for this one. So I spent, and this is not a joke, probably 25 minutes circling the surrounding blocks in sort of like ever larger circles, trying to find somewhere to park in a place that I can normally find parking in max 5 minutes. And then had to walk, I don't know, a half a mile or something from my parking spot. I didn't even try to go to that bar. I went to another bar that is next to it that was also showing the World Cup, but I guess all of the people who had Googled where should I watch the World Cup did not realize there were other bars on the street. So I was able to sort of sneak in there and catch the back half of the game, and it was great. Yeah, World Cup's fun. France won.
Yeah, no, the World Cup is great. We've talked about it before, but I do just love, I really dig international competition. I caught just none of the World Cup this year. I was, like, traveling for huge parts of it, and I was bummed out. But congratulations, France. Congratulations, Croatia. Since I know you guys are listening.
Yeah, everyone in Croatia listens to this show. Yeah, it was the first time they ever made the finals, I think.
It is. It's a really huge deal. Which, I mean, like, dude, even if you lose, you're still like second place in the World Cup. Like,
yeah, they played a great game. Anyway, that's it. That was my World Cup experience. Dave, what is our second star of the week?
Oh, so our second star of the week, man, is I have been reading an online series, which I don't really do a lot, but I kind of stumbled onto this thing, and I've been reading it. It's tons of fun. It's called The Death Worlders.
Okay, now when you say an online series, what does this mean?
Sorry, it's a prose novel, like an ongoing novel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Now it's so it's being written by this guy. It's very cool. It's got a lot of the hallmarks of a comic book in that, like, it's a shared universe. There's one primary author, a guy whose online handle is Hambone. So,
all right,
whatevs. And but there are other people who are also writing stories that are sort of like adjacent to the primary story in this world, and it's kind of ongoing. And so there's no, like, set end point. So, but it is prose. So, like I said, it's comic booky in that vibe. So here is the very, very quick, like, intro to this thing, and I just got I got such a kick out of it that I wanted to tell you about it. So it's a subset. It's a story in the genre of fiction that is called Humanity F Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yes, I'm familiar with this. This is like in the course of a fictional world, it turns out that humans are, like, the strongest race in the
that, like,
galaxy.
Earth is Krypton, basically, and it turns out that we're And so the story of the Death Worlders, it's set in the world is called the Jenkins verse because, like, the original short story stars a guy named Kevin Jenkins, and how it works, there's a bunch of alien species, and one of them that are called the Chouriki, and they're little gray aliens. Like, that is, like, stories about little gray aliens, those are the Chouriki, right? So anyways, like, worlds are rated on a class of, like, 1 to 12, and 1 is, like, a paradisical Eden, where, like, everything is fine, and at 12, like, anything that's a 10 or above is considered a death world. And common wisdom is that, like, sapient life cannot evolve on death worlds. Like, it's too dangerous, like, nothing could survive that long, blah, blah, blah. Earth is categorized as a 12.
Okay.
We are a Class 12 Death World. So the story starts off, there's this dude, Kevin Jenkins, and he shows up in a space station, and they're like, well, what are you? And he's like, I'm a human. They're like, that's not in our database. And he says, yeah, I was abducted. I know I'm not in your database, but like, I'm a human. They're like, where are you from? He's like, I'm from Earth. And they're like, what's Earth? There's nothing that lives there. And he's like, yeah, we are there though. And someone looks it up and they're like, that's a Class 12 Death World. You can't be from Earth. He's like, and yet, here I am. Strangely, here I am. And, so then there's this other race. They're called like basically the rest of the galaxy are all herbivores, right?
Okay.
Because they just are. And then there's like one other sapient race in the galaxy that are carnivores, and they're called the Hunters. And they like the entire galaxy like lives in fear of the Hunters, right? So while they're on this space station, they like Hunters attack. And Kevin Jenkins is just like, what the heck are those things? They're like, oh man, it's the Hunters. Well, we're all just going to die now because like, that's it. We're all just going to die. And Kevin Jenkins says, what? No, man. And he just like runs over and just starts punching one of them to death. And then he turns around and tears another one's arm off and uses it to beat a third one to death. and they're all looking at him saying like, what did you just do? You just got shot, because they like shoot him with like pulse cannon fire, and it like bruises his arm, but he's fine. Mm-hmm. And so they're like, you just got shot, and he's like, oh, did I? Wow, that's crazy. And then they're like doing an after action report on him. They're like trying to figure out like how he possibly did this, and they say, dude, you've got adrenaline in your system. And he says, yeah. And they say, you're like a space bum. You don't have any money. And he says, so? And they're like, where did you possibly get adrenaline? Because it turns out like the rest of the galaxy had figured out how to synthesize adrenaline, but had banned it with like intergalactic Geneva conventions as like the galaxy's like most dangerous combat drug. They're like, so you just make that in your tiny brain. And he says, I guess so. Yep. Sure do. And then the rest of the series just sort of spirals out from there. And it is about like humanity entering this gigantic galactic civilization that was like certain that they not only didn't know that they existed, but was certain that they could not exist because Earth is a death world, right? And it's just like, okay, to be fair, the writing itself is not actually very good.
Okay.
So, and I'm only leading with that to kind of get it out of the way. Like, as a constructor of prose, the author is like not super amazing, right? Like obviously he or she is getting better because they've written a lot of this at this point. But as a piece of speculative fiction, and as a sort of world building, it is fantastic. Like, it's
very cool.
Super, super interesting. Just looking at like humanity is like, so like humanity is basically the galactic equivalent of like a hyper intelligent toddler. Like, we're smarter than everybody else, or we're stronger than everybody else, but we are also like literally thousands and thousands of years behind technologically. And sort of like, how does humanity interact and adapt and overcome and all of these things? It's a pretty easy read. It's a lot of fun, and I recommend it a lot. It's very good. So it's called The Death Worlders, or you can just search for the Jenkins verse if you're interested.
Right on, dude.
Yeah. So what, Matt, is our third star of the week?
Third star of the week is that while you were diving into the wide world of speculative fiction, I was going perhaps as far in the opposite direction as you can go, because I've spent the last 3 weeks watching the Ken Burns baseball documentary series from 1994.
Ooh, I've watched a couple episodes of that.
Okay, here's the thing. I'm not a huge baseball fan.
Yeah, no, me neither.
But the parts of baseball that I like are the mythology of baseball. You know, like the sort of like Americana. Like,
yeah, right. I don't actually
folklore
want to
stuff
watch
of
a
it.
baseball. I don't actually want to watch a baseball game.
Yeah, well, I mean, honestly, the more that I watched of the documentary, the more interested I am in like actually watching a game. Although, like having spent a couple of weeks, and when I say a couple of weeks, like it's 9 episodes. The original run of it is 9 episodes. Each of those episodes is 2 hours long.
Yeah, there's a lot of information.
And so there are effectively, I don't know, 30 episodes, because I never sat down and spent 2 hours watching a full episode front to back. I would just kind of like get home and turn it on for a while, or turn it on for a while before I went to bed. So it's kind of weird now that I'm done watching it. There are 2 more episodes that he made in 2010, but here's the problem, Dave. After watching, I don't know, about 18 to 20 hours of baseball documentary.
How much of that are you absorbing at this point?
I mean, honestly, I think probably a lot. It's a very well done series.
Okay.
But the real problem of it is that I don't think that for the rest of this calendar year, I can tolerate listening to yet another musical arrangement of Take Me Out to the Ball Game.
Yeah, oh, yeah, I can, like...
Because I swear there's probably 2 new arrangements per hour. That's 18 to 20 hours. So we're rounding 35 to 40 arrangements of a very simple song that I have just been like living with for weeks now. There's some jangly versions. There's some mournful versions. There's some like Civil War versions. I was
gonna say, dude, there's gotta be a bunch of different versions of this thing.
And it is. And listen, I have nothing against the song. It's a perfectly nice song.
Yeah,
Even though for years I was not sure if the line "I don't care if I never come back" refers to "I don't care if I ever get back to home from the ballpark," or if I ever care if I get back to the ballpark again after this visit. It's always seemed very unclear to me, even after listening to it this many times. It's probably the side that favors being in the ballpark, to be frank, since it's sung while there. Anyway, it's a really good documentary series. It's also a great time capsule for 1994. Just like,
yeah, I remember there being a lot of
oh my gosh,
the glasses is what I remember.
Yes, the eyeglasses that people are wearing in that thing are like, they could not have been made at any other time. I know I've talked about this before. Honestly, I can't remember if I've talked about it on this show because it just like seeped into my brain so much for so long that it could have been here. It could have been on a different podcast. It could have been in an email. I could have had a conversation at work. It's just sort of been like this cloud I've been living in for weeks. And it was so great. And I'm so glad to be free of it for a while. For a little while, at least. I'll get around to those episodes later. Dave, what are we on? Our 4th star? What is our 4th star of the week?
4th star of the week, man. So this is, I just needed to tell you about a product that I've just discovered.
Product update.
I discovered it in an advertisement.
That's often where you'll discover a product.
Yeah. And it's called John Daly's Grip It and Sip It.
Okay.
So do you know who John Daly is?
Is that the guy from the Comedy Central show Review?
No.
Is that Andy Daly? It's something Daly.
Yeah, that is Andy Daly. No, John Daly is a pro golfer, and I really only, I needed to know more about this product, so I did a little bit of research on John Daly. So, John Daly, he's a golfer, and he is like the rogue bad boy. He's basically Happy Gilmore. Okay. As far as I can tell, he is the rogue drunky bad boy of pro golf. All right.
Cool.
Yeah. So he has recently, I guess last year, but I just found out about it. His tagline, I guess, is "Grip It and Rip It." Okay. Because he
sounds like an energy drink.
Hits the golf ball real hard, just so hard, I guess, and So this is called Grip It and Sip It.
Okay, now I've got a question for you. Is the product called Grip It and Sip It, or is it called John Daly's Grip It and Sip It?
It is called John Daly's Grip It and Sip It.
Okay.
Just so it says John Daly. It's in an Argyle can. Okay.
Okay.
And it is an alcoholic beverage. It is made by Fusion Beverages, the same people responsible for bringing you Four Loko.
You know, when I think golf, I think Four Loko. You're already,
well, apparently,
you're already shouting 4 when you're at the tee. Just keep going.
I really hope that John Daly does that now. But anyway, so here's the deal. So I'm watching this commercial, and he says, like, John Daly, rad, buy him a drink. And he's like, it comes in.
Give me an age range on John Daly. How old are we thinking he is?
You know, I don't know. It's Wikipedia says that he was born. He is 52 years old.
52.
Yeah,
he's the bad boy of golf.
The bad boy of golf.
52
years old. Well, bad boys get old. He's been golfing since he was the 80s. So he's been doing. Anyways,
I think at this point he must be a bad man by now, right?
So anyways, he's talking
John
about
Cena, both bad men.
This product, and he's like, it's a cocktail, and he comes in a hard tea, like hard iced tea. Which, like, okay, sure, like, that's already a product that exists, but why not? And then he says, or the John Daly, which is a hard half iced tea, half lemonade.
Well, hold on, Dave. Because I've heard of some famous golfers, and there's one in particular that, to my knowledge, has a famous drink.
Yeah, okay, so here's the deal. Apparently, this started out as, like, a joke because John Daly... Like, this dude loves to drink so much that if you were drinking an Arnold Palmer and you poured liquor in it, they would call it a John Daly.
Like if he was not present, they would still do this.
Yeah. Like, you could order a John Daly, which is just a drunk Arnold Palmer. And he was just like, you know what, man? May as well cash in on that part of my reputation.
Dude, can you imagine the gall of this guy walking into a room and saying, listen, I've got a great idea. I am a professional golfer, and I want to sell a drink. You're going to love it. It's iced tea, and wait for it. There's also lemonade. It's like, gosh, John, I think we're already all full up on pro golfer themed iced tea and lemonade drinks.
Right, and you can't even, because Arnold Palmer does sell a pre-mixed version with his name on it.
Yes, he does. So you've got to be thinking, so what's the catch? What makes it so special? What's this new flavor sensation? Well, we add a flavorless liquor.
It will get you turned. So that is, I just discovered this. The commercial is worth watching all on its own. It is basically just John Daly hitting golf balls very hard with the voiceover about how you should get loaded on his new canned beverage.
And I also love that the name of the product is the John Daly's Grip It and Sip It, because the name of the Arnold Palmer is not the Arnold Palmer, like, squeezy lemon tea drink. It's just the Arnold, the most impossible name to say, for some reason, the Arnold Palmer.
Yeah, it's right up there with the Parma Armory.
The Parma Armory. Arnold Parma at the Parma. 201st episode. I know how to talk, folks.
This ridiculous beverage, aside, Matt, what is our 5th star of the week?
Oh, gosh, dude, my Gmail's running out of storage, and I don't know how to deal with it.
Yeah. That has also happened to me. That happened to me with my Dropbox. And I wasn't prepared for it.
You know, it's one of those things when you sign up for a new Gmail account in 2006, back when it said beta on it.
It
said beta on Gmail for like 7 years. It was
for
very
a really
strange.
long time. Well, there used to be like a little counter about how much additional space they were giving you, like just ticked up every second.
Yeah.
And I just assumed
it would continue to tick up, and I'd never run out.
But they capped it at 15 gigs, which is still a lot.
Lo, these 12 years later, I am up to 14.7 of those 15 gigs.
Wow.
And
there's got to be ways to deal with that.
I mean, there is. I guess I just delete a bunch of emails, but the problem is, like, we have, like, the nice thing about having a Gmail account that runs back to 2006 is that
you got sort of a running comment. Yeah, you got like email-based log.
Like, I don't keep a diary. I just have all my old emails. And so, it's like, well, what do you do? Do you pay Google for more storage, or do you throw your diaries in the fire?
Yeah. Huh. Well, if anybody's got a great idea about that, let us know, I guess.
Yeah. And I know it shares storage with Google Drive, but I don't have that much stuff in the Google Drive. I looked at that. It's mostly
like
the
you
email.
checked. Like
Yeah.
this is just 15 gigs worth of emails. Well, here's the
probably
thing. We
13
send this
gigs worth of
giant
email.
email chain back and forth to like 15 people a day, and we do it every single day. And it sometimes goes like, it might go upwards of 100 emails in a day.
Oh, sure.
And after a while, it starts to take up some space.
Oh yeah, today's was 61 and yesterday's was 53. So, it's not an inconsiderate amount of detail, but that also means it's not an inconsiderate amount of like the
Your
entirety of my relationship with all of my college friends post-college. Anyway, I don't have a lot of jokes about that. It's just a growing panic
like
in the
crazy
background
thing.
of my life.
Yeah. So, I'm gonna break kayfabe for a little bit here, Matt. We did already watch this episode, and Dad, if you're listening to this one, you should listen to the whole episode.
Oh yeah, there's a little.
I know you normally don't. You just listen to the 5 stars to catch up on what we're doing. But you should listen to the episode review on this one. You'll appreciate it.
There is some dad-focused material. Not your dad, our dad. It's very specific to our dad.
I mean, listen, if your dad is in the same line of work as our dad, I'm giving away too much. Anyways, just listen to it.
Exposing the business, Dave. Anyway, we're going to take a break. We're going to pretend to take a break and watch the episode. Dave already told you that we did it. But you're going to hear an interstitial sound anyway right now. Okay, welcome back. Good break.
Yeah,
there.
hey.
Anyway, so we watched this episode, and Dave, can I make a confession to you right off the top of the bat?
Yeah. Or what if it's the same thing I'm about to say?
No, I messed up. I watched this episode bad.
What do you mean?
I thought I was going to watch it good, but I did it bad. So I'm watching them on the DVDs from Shout Factory. You can watch them on the DVDs yourself or at shoutfactory.tv. I think that's the website. All up there, you can watch along with us. I was watching on the DVDs, though, Dave, and I thought, man, I don't know when we're going to start recording this. I should cut out a minute of my watch and just fast forward to the end of the credits. Do like a little chapter skip.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, here's the problem, Dave, is I double tapped that chapter skip. So I started watching this episode at the act break. But sometimes when an episode starts, you're like, well, I guess we're just
they just throw you right in, man.
We're just in the mix, and that's cool. And we're gonna get this out of the way in the first half, and then in the back half, ooh, who knows what could happen? And what happened is the episode ended, and I was like, oh crap. This was only like 11 minutes.
I made a terrible mistake.
I've missed something.
Well, Matt, listen, let me tell you something. It's not actually as bad because I started this episode at the beginning and it still didn't make any sense. Because here's the deal. This character, this episode, the monster for it is called Barra Fawcett. And they are talking about this dude as though like he has been around for a minute. We've never seen him before. Yes. Turns out he was the villain in the Ohranger movie.
Yes. Now, the Ohranger movies, all of the Super Sentai television series, the full seasons, are on the DVDs. Those are part of what Shout Factory got the rights to.
Yeah.
For some complicated legal reason, the movies, which are... We did the Die Ranger movie back when everything was just up on YouTube. The movies are like a bonus episode that are not in the DVD box sets.
Yeah, and normally it's not a big deal. Like it just doesn't matter. But as it we managed to get through the episode. I don't want to make it sound as though it was like enormous plot complications. But generally speaking, the movies are just like they're just another episode. As it happens, they brought the villain back for this episode. So it was really weird.
They kind of did. They did it in like the weirdest way. Well, okay, we will get to this. The episode starts at midnight in front of a refrigerator, or at least that is where I thought it started. We will get there in a few minutes.
Yeah, it does not. Where it actually starts is up in Baranoia, and they have Barra Fawcett. And Barra Fawcett he's like a big dude in like a yellow jumpsuit, and his head is a faucet, and his mouth sort of like extends out. He has like teeth that extend out of the faucet in a deeply upsetting way.
His mouth looks like if you crossed a faucet with a naked mole rat.
Yeah, yep, yeah, that works. Or like a horse, maybe? Anyways, so Empress Hysteria says This is great. We have rebuilt Barra Faucet. Originally, I guess he was called Faucet Chuck.
Yeah. Maybe the teeth is because he had like a woodchuck thing going on. Man, I don't know.
Yeah, man, I don't know. I saw him. There's like a flashback, and he's throwing stuff at someone, and I wondered if he was because he like chucks faucets at people. I don't know.
Who knows?
Anyways, so they're like, we've rebuilt him out of new liquid metal, so he's basically T-1000. And they are sending him to Earth to enact Operation Moon Rainbow.
Yes. Now, he is T-1000 in two ways. One, he is made out of liquid metal and can sort of like shift his like liquid body around.
Yeah.
Two,
he can't like shapeshift or anything.
Well, he kind of can, though. He can turn himself into like he has a human form that he can transform into.
Oh, that's right. You know, he did that, and I was so like I'm just so used to. Well, no, a number of the Paranoia robots did that. But I'm so used to it being a thing, like from Ranger, that like it didn't register. Like, oh wow, he can do that thing. I was like, oh, there's his human form. How about that? So anyway, so we go from there, and we see this lady, and she is making tea, and she looked really familiar.
Oh yes, I noticed this right away, but that's because when I first started watching this episode, I saw the whole family together.
Right, I didn't notice it at first. We will get to why she looks familiar later. But she was making herself some tea. She sets her tea down. She's like, ooh, I'm hungry. She looks in the fridge. She sees some cake. And she's like, oh, yeah, cake.
Yeah, dude, cake
and
rules.
Then cake rules. And then she kind of gives it the stink eye. And she's like, let me check something. And she goes over. And this lady has a scale, like a weight, not like a person scale, in her kitchen. Which already suggests to me that she maybe has like an unhealthy relationship with herself.
Yeah, or at least with her scale.
At least with her scale. Like, lady, it's okay. Have some freedom. Eat that piece of cake. Well, just get back on plan in 3 hours. And from Healthy Mama.
And here's how we know that she is trying very hard to keep to a strict diet, is because when she gets on the scale, she says, "Oh no, I'm 300 grams overweight."
Which is like nothing, right? It's like...
Yeah, like that is about as... That's a hefty, like, cold cut order from the deli. Like, that is not, like, multiple pounds.
300 grams is 0.6 pounds.
There we go.
Yeah, so
it's not even that hefty of an order at the deli.
Yeah, this is not like a huge amount that she's... Yeah, so she's clearly concerned.
Can I give you a personal life anecdote? About trying to...
About how many grams?
About how many grams to order at the deli. Yeah, this is very specific.
Yeah, that's...
It's probably never going to come up again. In the year that I lived in France, I never got a good gauge as to... Like, I got pretty good at, like, Fahrenheit Celsius conversions, but I never got good at, like, ounces, pounds to metric. And so whenever I went to the grocery store... I just decided that anytime I got something from the deli counter, I always wanted 200 grams because I could remember how to say 200 grams, and like that was kind of enough. And I always tried to say it like as confidently as possible, and it worked pretty well most of the time until like a few times. You know how you like sometimes accidentally order something that's like weirdly dense for its size, and you get like 4 pieces of cheese.
Oh, yeah. That mistake has been made in the past, definitely.
Anyway, that's just a fun moment from the life of Matt. Let's get back to the story.
So, anyways, while she is sadly contemplating her scale, there's a doorbell. And this dude, it's the human form of Barra Fawcett.
And we know that it is him, by the way. He is not disguised really at all.
Yeah.
Like, he is a human, but he is dressed exactly like a machine beast.
Right, and we saw him transform.
Yeah.
So this is not like a secret from us, at least.
He also does have 3 faucets sticking out of his chest.
Well, she doesn't see that at first because he just says, "Hey, I'm here to deliver your moon rainbow," and she says, "What?" And he just like, "It's cool, don't worry about it." And he just sort of walks into the house. So he pulls his shirt open like Superman style, pulls a faucet off of his chest, and then a new one just kind of fades into existence. And this is when she starts to flip out a little bit. Which is reasonable.
She flips out a little bit. She doesn't flip out enough.
Yeah, she doesn't stop him from doing anything he's doing. Because what he does, he walks over and just replaces her faucet with the faucet that he has just pulled from his from his body.
Yeah, his body faucet.
His body faucet. And he says, listen, here's the
never
deal.
mind. That's not a term I'm comfortable with. Let's never say that again.
If you just turn the body faucet, if you turn it left,
no, Dave,
it's just
please.
water. You're fine. If you turn the body faucet right, what comes out is moon rainbow. And she says, I'm sorry? And he says, listen, moon rainbow is the ultimate diet drink. You can eat, if you drink 1 glass of moon rainbow a day, you can eat literally anything you want, and you'll be totally fine. She is justifiably suspicious about this strange faucet man and his body faucet. And
Please,
he holds up the glass of moon rainbow to her.
You've got to stop saying
now,
it.
see, no, listen,
about
you
it.
have to just...
think about it for 1 second next time you say it. Just think about what you're saying.
Yeah, no. No, I'm there, Matt. So anyways, he says, listen... She's like, no, she doesn't even say anything. She's just horrified. And he says, yeah, listen, steaks and cake and like some Japanese dessert and some other stuff. And he just starts listing off foods, and she starts to hallucinate about the foods.
Sure, like she's in a cartoon and he has suddenly become like a fully dressed turkey that's walking around with a hat on.
Yeah. And she says, you know what? You go ahead and give me that moon rainbow. And she just starts drinking it. And that's enough. And then he says, oh, also, if you wear this, he calls it a basic suit. I don't know why. It seems like a high-tech, like, wrestler's sweatsuit.
It's a big silver onesie.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, and he's like, if you wear this suit, you will, you'll lose even more weight. And she's just like, awesome, I'm down.
By the way, the moon rainbow obviously is going to have a negative effect. The basic suit just seems to be for aesthetics. Like, at no point does because multiple people are going to drink this moon rainbow, and they are not in any way affected less than the people who are not wearing the basic suits.
Well, they all end up wearing the basic suit, so I don't actually know if you can use that as a good
No, there is a riot later in this episode, and only half the people are wearing basic suits. I know, because I kind of watched it twice.
Okay, so anyway, so the next thing we see is Momo. She's out jogging, and she goes to she's got a towel. She's just gonna rinse it off in a fountain, and she turns the faucet, and moon rainbow comes out. What?
She is horrified.
And then she's attacked by Barra Fawcett.
Barra Fawcett jumps out. Now, Barra Fawcett's mission is not to kill the Ohrangers. Barra Fawcett's mission is to calm down and mess people up with this drink. But the thing is, if you have seen the Ohranger movie, you will know that the Ohrangers have already killed this guy once, and he, having been resurrected, now lives only for revenge. And so he forgets his mission anytime that he sees the Ohrangers. And so he just jumps out of the faucet, like there's an animated effect that is meant to be his liquid form, jumps out of the faucet and just starts going after her, claiming that he has a debt to repay from a previous life, which is when I opened up Google.
Yeah, it's I must have missed that line because I remained confused until after the episode. So he attacks her with like a water pressure attack, which is just out of his mouth faucet,
sure, he opens
just
his horrible
squirts a lot of water. He opens his horrible mouth faucet and just sprays water at her. I guess hard enough to hurt her is the idea. It's very clearly not, but whatever. Side note, Matt, have you ever watched videos of water jets cutting through things? They're awesome.
Yeah, I've seen a few of those videos, and they are awesome.
Yeah, they're super cool. So anyways, as a water pressure, he manages to tie her up with I'm not sure what it is. It's like a hose or something.
Yeah.
But he ties Momo up. Somehow the chief gets wind of this. The team is out. They're on the move. The Rangers arrive to save Momo, and they're trying to attack Barra Fawcett. It's not actually going super well though.
Well, the thing is, Dave, he's got that liquid form. Yeah,
he's a T-1000. So they're shooting him and trying to punch him and all this stuff, and he just kind of goes like bloop, and he turns into a liquid and it shoots past him, and then he re-solidifies and they can't actually hurt him.
So they're having this fight, and honestly, it's not going super well for the Ohrangers. And for some reason, Acha and Kocha are like, whoa, this guy is beating up the Ohrangers, but that is distracting him from his true mission of distributing this weird beverage. So I'm going to call him away from this fight that he is winning to get him back to the door-to-door faucet repair grind.
It's Acha and Kocha are inscrutable. So anyways,
actually,
he's like,
here, one thing I do like about this is that Acha and Kocha are very, like, they're machines, right? Like, so they have been told to, like, follow a particular operation, and so they are making sure that operation happens.
Oh, I kind of dig that. I hadn't thought about it that way.
I don't know if that's what the show was going for.
They're
but
basically sentient. But anyways, so he does like a rainbow beam attack, which is just like he shoots rainbow fountains at them. And then he dips. Like that, he just gone. He turns into liquid and he disappears into the fountain. This was really weird for me because while I was doing some house cleaning, Matt, I am catching up on the penultimate and now the most recent episode of The Adventure Zone, which is a very similar monster. So
it is kind of a similar monster, yeah.
Yeah.
Quality program.
Anyways, so we go back to the base, okay? And they're all standing around, and Momo has this glass of moon rainbow, and she says,
"Oh yeah, they brought it back with her to study."
Yeah, she's like, "I don't know what's going on with this stuff, but like it's really weird." And Chouriki reaches up, and she's like, "Oh, that's moon rainbow. Like, it's the best.
It's the
like
hot
the
new
most
diet
effective.
fad.
It's like the hot new diet drink." And she's like doing a mini commercial for a moon rainbow. Jury.
Listen, I love Jury with my entire heart, but Jury, this is not the first time we have seen Jury like fall prey to some weird trend.
Yeah.
Remember when she got the mini robot, like the mini like pet robot that turned out to be
the
a
little
bomb?
Pinocchio? Yeah. So, it's all part of her charm, Matt. So anyways, so the chief, he's like, moon rainbow. Must be a challenge from the moon. This is a paranoia plot. Which, yes, obviously it is. But the thing that's throwing me off is that he says, like, he lays this information out as though it is a revelation to anybody in this room.
Right, like, they collected this stuff after fighting a machine beast 5 minutes ago. Yes, of course it is a challenge from the moon. And he is acting like he is Robin from like the 1966 Batman show. Like, the C is for Catwoman, of course.
So anyways, so we go back there. We go back to the house, the housewife who is drinking the moon rainbow. And this is where it clicks, where we've seen this family before.
Yeah, this is the same family from the episode with the mold robot. What was that thing's name?
Baramold? That's definitely
something like that. But you will remember it as like the dude who shows up. When I say dude, I mean robot. He shows up to a family in the middle of their father's birthday dinner. He eats all of their food. He eats all of the food they can order in. He drinks all of their liquor and is only defeated by the power of dance.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It is that family.
Yes. Oh, it's Bara Hungry.
Bara Hungry.
Right? Yeah. The one that eats a bunch. He's called Bara Hungry.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, I don't know how we forgot that one. So anyways, it's the same it's the same family.
They're just plagued with all the food-related paranoia monsters.
So the mother, she's in her suit, she's drinking her moon rainbow. She's like, I lost a whole kilo today, which is a lot to lose in a single day.
Yeah, troubling,
The daughter is
really.
suspicious. Yeah, troublingly a lot. The daughter is suspicious. She's like, that's from paranoia. A machine beast gave you that. Why are you drinking / wearing it? And the mom says, hey, you know what? Maybe paranoia wants to help for once.
Yeah, maybe they're trying to turn this thing around.
You shouldn't be so judgmental. No, Mom, they don't. They don't want to help. They never want to help. They're here to destroy you. But anyways, so then we get, I think, my favorite scene in this entire episode, which is all the Rangers. They know something is going on with the water, right?
Oh, by the way, have we talked about the before we leave that family, the husband / father walks into the kitchen. He's like, man,
oh, sorry,
I've been
I forgot
putting
about
on
this.
some
Yeah.
weight. And the wife is like, dude, you need to drink this weird stuff from the moon.
You gotta get on the moon rainbow regimen. And he's like, sounds a little weird. She's like, I lost a kilo today. And he says, I'll try it. So this just goes to show that human beings will do literally anything but like good diet and exercise.
Yeah. Man,
so anyways.
Every once in a while, Ohranger tries to pull out some like trenchant commentary like, man, people will do anything to help their kids get through school and like get those straight A's, or people will do anything to lose a few pounds. But the problem is like very rarely solved by any sort of like actual moral in the episode. It's just like, oh, well, eventually 5 superheroes will shoot it with a laser.
Well, I mean, no. Well, no, at the end of this, they get around. There's a little bit of a message. It's good. I like it. So anyways, this is my favorite bit. Is that the Rangers, they know there's something going on with the water. And they're like, well, we just got to like figure out what's up with water. And so they are just wandering around town, and they are all on a bridge. And Shohei has what appears to be a mason jar on a string. And he just like drops that down into the river that is below the bridge and sort of like pulls. It's not even on like a crank. He just sort of like hauls it up hand over hand. And then he looks at the water and says like, oh, looks fine to me. And that's their litmus test. Like that's how they don't even do a literal litmus test for their litmus test, Matt. He just kind of gives it a once over with his string jar. And the rest of the Rangers are like, well, Shohei says it's good. It's probably fine.
Dude, Shohei is very good. He has 2 very good moments in this episode. That is one of them. The other one is when they first realize that Barra Fawcett is just Fawcett Chuck rebuilt. Shohei's like, man, I wonder if Baranoi's having trouble with funding. They got to recycle all their stuff.
Heyo.
Very good.
Yeah. So they're like, okay, well, he's not in the river. Maybe he's in the pipes, which is like a pretty big jump, but well, no, it's not because they've seen him disappear into pipes.
Yeah, they saw him disappear into the pipes when they were fighting him before.
Yeah, so that's good. So we go from there and we see Barra Fawcett and Akacha and Kocha, and they are in like a little base somewhere, and they're basically planning their sales route, as far as I can tell.
Yeah. And Acha and Kocha are like, listen, we got another customer here, and by customer they mean Barra Fawcett, you need to jump into the faucet and like spit yourself out in their kitchen and replace their faucet with a monster faucet, which then they will
Body faucet, Matt.
They will just drink out of after they're done screaming at the monster invasion. They'll just drink some of that moon rainbow. They're gonna do it.
They just gotta lose that weight.
And again,
so,
it's a terrible plan that works 100%.
Yeah, well, so what he does, this is pretty cool actually, is that he turns into a liquid and he like shrinks, I guess, and you just sort of get this overlay of him like shimmying through the pipes, just being like faucet, 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 faucet. It's just a cool little piece of visual storytelling of him like literally like jamming through these pipes. It's pretty great. So we go from there, and we see the Rangers are arriving in like the top half of the screen, and the bottom half of the screen is blacked out, and we see the pipe overlaid, and we see Barra Fawcett arriving in the pipes at the same time. It was just a cool little thing.
Yeah, it is a fun. It's a fun visual. So Barra Fawcett jumps out of the faucet into this kitchen. The woman screams. And
well, hold up.
Uh-huh.
There's a little thing that happens before that, which is the Rangers all show up, and there's a bunch of women standing around in basic suits drinking Moon Rainbow, and Shoei's like, dude, this is from a machine beast. You can't drink this. It's like, we don't quite know why yet, but it's definitely bad. And they're like, yeah, well, we're all losing weight, so give me that Moon Rainbow back, and why don't you mind your own business?
Right, mind your beeswax, buddy.
Yeah, like, they super do not
jerk.
trust Yuji for some reason. So then we go upstairs, and we do see Barra Fawcett flips through, and he tries to replace this woman's faucet, and she is sensible and flips out.
Yeah,
which is what you should do if a monster shows up in your house.
And when she does, she like goes to the window and screams. The Ohranger is like, "Oh, he's in a kitchen. He must be moving through the faucets. Let's have a plan now, I guess."
Yeah.
So Barra Fawcett jumps back into the faucet to like get away.
Yeah, he rabbits. So, like, there's not actually even a fight here. We go back to the base real quickly, and the chief says, or maybe they don't go back to base, but the chief says, okay, he can move through faucets. Like, he can move through pipes. We know that now. Now we can sort of use this information to lay a trap for him. We're going to trap him in the pipes.
Okay. Now we hit the episode break, and I want you to keep in mind as we watch the rest of the episode that this is what I watched without having first watched everything we just discussed.
Okay. So the episode begins with this poor family. Well, it's the mom and the dad and the older sister.
Yeah.
And it's midnight, and they're sitting around the kitchen in their basic suits with big glasses of Moon Rainbow, and they are just jamming food in their face, like as fast as they can humanly do it.
They are eating what I can only call unprepared food. And so it's not like raw chicken or whatever, but one of them is definitely eating, like, you know when you go to the deli and there's like a salami and you order like, I don't know, say 200 grams of it, and they slice it up. They're just like taking bites out of the full salami, which, first of all, why do they have a full salami? That's way too much. But that's the
more
kind
economical
of food that they are eating. They're just grabbing whatever is in the fridge and eating it whole.
Yeah, and so they have, like, the son is like, what is going on? This is super creepy. And they're like, no, dude, have a snack. It's awesome. It's actually pretty creepy. And then they basically turn into food zombies. Like, they're zombies, but they don't want brains. They just want, like, chicken.
Yeah, so they, like, run out of their house, and they are, like, running down the street, and they and a bunch of other people who theoretically have also had the Moon Rainbow. I'm assuming that all of them had. Maybe all of them but one had, and he was just like, dude, I need a snack. But they break into this restaurant, and they're just, like, busting through the window and grabbing their, like, chickens and everything, and just
just everything that's there.
Just and so one of them does say thank you as they're running out of the restaurant.
So we flip back up to Empress Hysteria, and we find out this was the plan the whole time, and this is like her commentary on how humans overeat, I guess. But
yeah,
she says, I'm going to turn their own like negative stuff, like negative habits against them. I'm just going to turn them all into like food craving zombie monsters, and then that will basically be the end of the human race.
Yeah, because humans are just animals. And then because we see in a second, Goro sort of expounds on this when he sees it when they show up in a minute. He says like, oh man, like parents are taking food from children. This is just like straight up survival of the fittest stuff, and that is sort of how Paranoia thinks, and so they're like turning us into them or something. It's a lot of weird,
it's a little bit
X-Men
weird.
Apocalypse stuff.
I do kind of dig this element of Paranoia, because we've seen this a few other times in the past, where we also saw it in Domodarumu, the big villain from last season. What was the big villain from last season's name?
Oh, Dave, you know that I forgive and forget. No, I forget everyone's name as soon as we are done with this show.
Daimao was his name. But I kind of dig that it's just like, oh, like, yes, they are a villain, but their villainy is sort of like highlighting the darker parts of human nature. Like, it's kind of, like it's a kid's show, but I think it adds a little more punch to the narrative.
Yeah.
So anyways, so this is the plan. Hysteria is loving it. Ohranger comforts the little boy who's like, my mom and dad and sister are food zombies. They're like, it's cool, little boy. We'll help you. So
can I read you my notes thus far?
Yeah, no, please do.
Note number 1. And okay, to be fair, I should have realized something was up when I wrote this first note, but it is not the first time I have written it, which was, did I fast forward too far?
You did, yes.
But I had no idea that I had. Listen, again, it happens more than you'd think. Is this the same family from the mold episode? Why are they all wearing silver jumpsuits? Why is everyone so hungry? Why is this woman eating an entire salami? Okay, this is the result of a diet drink. This feels like an awful diet. Context, folks. It's important. So we go from here to the Ohrangers, go to just some pipes. just some random pipes where they have determined that Barra Fawcett is inside these pipes specifically.
Yeah, well, no, they are using little,
They've got like a monster
they've got
radar.
like a little, they've got like a little sonar device. So this is not like totally random.
And it's, okay. This whole sequence feels like trying to hack a vending machine in BioShock, because they have a whole complex of like tubes and pipes, and they are just like closing off valves and moving stuff around and trying to force all of the water that contains Barra Fawcett to go in one particular direction so they can trap him.
Yeah. It's, but it does work. It's pretty cool.
It's a very extended sequence, though, which for the first 5 minutes of an episode, it seems like kind of overkill.
Yeah, it did go.
I mean, it's not the first 5 minutes of the episode, so that's on me. But
no, I mean, even in the latter half of the episode, it's a little bit long because it's kind of boring. Because they're really getting their money's worth out of that, like, faucet footage as he's like squirming through, but like it loses its luster fairly quickly. So, but they do they eventually they manage to kind of corral him, and they turn all the faucets off. There's only one place he can go. And he's like, "Oh no, I'm trapped." But he escapes, kind of.
Yeah, it honestly kind of feels like cheating, because they do all this work to get him into one particular spot, and then they open it up, and all this water rushes out, and they say, "Oh my gosh, where's Barra Fawcett?" But what Barra Fawcett has done is just turned into his liquid form. So when all the water came out, he came out with it, and they just didn't notice him because he was part of the water.
Yeah, it's pretty great. So they get into a fight, but he's only 10 feet away or something. So he's like, "Ha! I escaped!" And they're like, "Oh, there you are." And so they all turn around and they start fighting him. So the fight is going pretty much the same as it did last time. Every time they use their King Blaster and all sorts of other stuff. Every time they try to hit him, he just turns into his liquid form, and then they can't hit him.
Now
and then that's
the
it.
The two complications of this fight, other than that, are one, there's a bunch of Barra soldiers here. And two,
sort of a complication.
Well, okay, but here's the thing, the practical logistic complication is that they have really committed to hanging around this water treatment plant during this fight. And so if you watch this fight and look where everyone is standing, everyone is just doing kung fu while standing on a kind of narrow pipe. It all looks incredibly dangerous.
Yeah, it's, it looks cool.
Oh, yeah.
It definitely looks cool.
It is very well shot. Those people could have died so easily.
Yeah. So they're looking around. They're they realize that, something is, they're like, "Well, listen, this clearly is not working. We have to figure out we got to figure something out here." Goro, Dad, this is the part that's for you. Goro looks around and realizes that some of these pipes are carrying liquid nitrogen.
Yeah, like they do at the water treatment plant.
Yeah, man, they're clearly at a plant of some sort, and I don't read Japanese, but okay, listen, I don't know. Anyways, these pipes have liquid nitrogen, okay?
Yes. And he gets a genius idea, which I think actually is also an idea that happens in Terminator 2. It's been a few years since I've seen that one.
They do definitely freeze T-1000. So they kind of they do some stuff, and there's some quick maneuvering hijinks, and they get him in this one spot, and he's like, "Ha! I got you guys now." And then they all go to shoot him. They don't actually shoot him, though. They shoot these pipes, and it sprays this super cool fluid. It's a liquid. It looks like a gas. It's supposed to be a liquid on him. And he freezes.
Yes, and so now he is vulnerable because he cannot shift to his liquid form. And so Ricky jumps in and hits him with a King Victory Flash, and he just explodes into a million tiny liquid metal shards. I guess he immediately reforms because Acha and Kocha make him grow giant, but this is a very cool moment.
Yeah, no, it's pretty rad. Now, from there, King Ranger shows up at one point, right? King Ranger shows up.
I mean, he's effectively not in this episode. Like, if he wasn't in this one, it would have no difference.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a disappointment.
So anyways, real quickly, like, then that's basically the end. Like, he goes giant. They summon all of their Zords. They summon King Pyramid. We do get another great moment where Barafos is like, how is it so big? And then he just gets blasted. Like, every portion of King Pyramid glows and emits energy, and then that's it.
Yeah. So the coda on this episode is you see the family, and they are out jogging. And the boy, the one who had not drank the moon rainbow, is in front of the group jogging.
Yes.
And
it's great.
And they're sort of like dragging behind. They clearly do not want to be there. They would much rather have lost the weight through like evil space magic. But they're like, man, like, this sucks. And he's like, no, like, you actually have to like put in work if you're going to lose weight. Which you're right, there is a message in this episode. And the mother says, we must be the unluckiest family in all of Japan. Why do all of these machine beasts show up at our house? And the son drops some, like, cold knowledge on them. And not even knowledge, just, like, what he says is, what happens twice will happen 3 times, and we need to be ready.
Yeah.
Which, like, dude, that is
a pretty pessimistic view.
That is not something that a regular little boy says. That is something that, like, Cable says. Like Rob Liefeld Cable shows up from 1994. Nathan Christopher Dayspring, Ascanius in Summer rolls in, is like, we need to prepare for the machines. This kid has gone full John Connor on us, and I kind of love it. I do hope we see them again, and that this kid is ready.
Yeah, no, that would be. Yep. Here's hoping.
But that's the end.
So
Except there is one more note to say, is that at the end of this episode, we see all 5 Ohrangers. They are also out for a jog, and they are, for the first time in the series, wearing color-coordinated outfits.
Like, all of them. We have seen some individual bits, but...
Yeah, like, they're just all wearing, like, color-coded exercise gear, and I was so shocked and delighted that I almost forgot to restart the episode so I can see the first half. And Dave, that is going to do it for this episode, but it is not going to do it for our episode, because before we leave, we need first to determine how Barra Fawcett fares in the Creature Royale.
Okay. Well,
is he better or worse than Fawcett Chuck?
Well, I have no...
Yeah, I have no frame of reference for this.
I have no frame of reference for that, so I can't...
Okay, here's something we do have a frame of reference for. The only one of the movies that we've seen was the Die Ranger movie. The monster in that was Duke Trump. Do you like him better or worse than Duke Trump?
Ooh, interesting point of comparison. Duke Trump is pretty wild.
Duke Trump is kind of amazing.
Yeah, I gotta say, I don't think I like him as much as Duke Trump.
Okay.
Although I do really... I think he's a cool monster.
Okay, well, what are
I like that he's liquid.
What are other food monsters? We've got Barra Hungry, of course.
Well, there's Barra Hungry, of course, yeah.
But man, I think there were a couple of like food hunger monsters. There's the ant, ant soldier, bazooka ant. What was that dude? That was another like make people very hungry monster.
Yeah, there's Bimbo Gami, the poor boy, and he kind of does some stuff with like material goods and hunger and stuff, maybe. Mm-hmm. So Barra Hungry is 61.
61. Okay.
Yeah, I think I like Barra Fawcett better than Barra Hungry.
Okay, and now 61 is not a bad spot on the list. That is right in between Lieutenant Shiryu and Dara Dara.
Yeah. So, listen, I don't think he's up in Barra Crusher, Barra Brain territory.
Okay, well, above Barra Hungry, but not too much higher, is Ant Bazooka at number 55. Another hungry monster.
I think I like him better than Ant Bazooka.
Yeah, no, I think Ant Bazooka got that placement on the list because he as like a monster design and concept was not that cool, but he did turn Kaori into like a weird half ant, half person who was like consuming like local wildlife. And then also at the end of that episode, the dude, one of the 4 dudes. I was not kidding when I said that I forgot all the proper nouns from all of the shows we used to watch, because I only have room for one in my brain at once.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way.
Tranza,
Anyways,
Emperor
no,
Tranza. That is the episode where Tran becomes Emperor Tranza.
Oh, yeah, no, I like him better than Ant Bazooka, I think.
Okay. See, above that,
but not as no. I think actually just above Ant Bazooka is really good, because I don't think he's as cool as Barra Hacker. Barra Hacker is wild.
Barra Hacker rules. But yeah, I'm comfortable with that.
So I would say just above Ant Bazooka.
Okay, well, we will put him there at the new number 55.
And that, Matt, is going to do it for us.
Yes, Dave, that is going to do it for another episode of For Your Eyes, Ohranger. Before we finish up here, I'd like to remind you all you can email the show at supersentaibrothers@gmail.com. If you want to get any updates on future episodes or check out the things that we're talking about on Twitter, we are at Super Sentai Bros. If you like the show, please remember that shining in the iTunes review section, there are 5 stars. Please rate, review, subscribe on Apple Podcasts or wherever it is that you find the show. Actually, I just heard like a few hours ago from producer Mark that we are on the new Google Play podcast app.
No kidding.
Yeah, so,
oh, cool.
So if you do not use the Apple products and you would rather do a Google thing, we are on that now. Speaking of producer Mark, the Super Sentai Brothers are a production of Retrograde Orbit Radio. To find any of the other great Retrograde Orbit Radio shows, you can do so at retrogradeorbitradio.com. Once again, we're the Super Sentai Brothers. I'm Matt.
I'm Dave.
And we'll see you next week for the greatest show on Earth.
Ove!